Hi, everybody. Welcome to Real Food. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Richard Shlofmitz, who's the chairman of the Department of Cardiology at St. Francis Hospital. The reason I laugh is you got to see what he's making. And also Lisa Hayham, who's a registered dietitian, but also there's a little family connection here. It's good to see you, and thank you for being here.
Nice to see you, Father Jim. How you doing?
So introduce this person to us.
Well, Lisa came into our life around 3-4 years ago. As you know, my son Evan is a cardiologist.
Sure.
And when he was in training, Lisa was training to be a dietitian and nutritionist, and they've been an item since then.
Isn't that wonderful? So that's great, and I'm glad you're here. You're sort of like the watchdog on this set right now, Lisa. Tell us a little bit about what you do, because do you work with Rich's son too?
No, I actually don't work in the hospital.
Okay.
I have a private practice, so I work one-on-one with clients, teaching them easy ways to make healthy swaps in a way that's super simple and manageable.
Isn't that great? That's a wonderful thing. And I notice, like, we have some very, very healthy stuff going on here, but there's a fried egg on this set, there's some ham. I'm very excited about what you're doing. Tell us a little bit about your work, though, because you have, I was kidding you before, how many people do you see? I mean, in a day, it's crazy.
You know, at St. Francis, we see a lot of people, and we've been doing really exciting things at St. Francis recently. As you know, the last time we spoke, we got involved in a technology that's really changing how people do angioplastics and stenting. Instead of guessing by eye, we have this, what we call precision angioplasty, which we actually developed. And we're teaching around the world how to do it. It's a way using a computerized system where rather than estimating things, we have a precision of a computer to put microns to tell us the size, the length, the composition of the plaque, so we get the best results possible. And St. Francis is a world leader in that, so it's pretty exciting.
You said something to me one time pretty bold that stuck in my mind, and I say this to a lot of people, that really, if you are aware of yourself and you go to the doctor, nobody should die of an issue with the heart, right?
Really shouldn't. If you are checked out by your physician, do the right things, and see a physician in a timely fashion, we should be able to fix just about anything.
That's incredible. And the advances are just coming right so quickly, right?
We're replacing valves with the groin right now. Before you had to open up someone's chest. Now a valve. I mean, the surgeons are now joining us in non-invasive type of procedures because most people are not going to surgery.
I had a buddy of mine, a priest friend of mine who was in his 70s, needed a valve replacement. He went to St. Francis, had the valve replacement, and I think 4.5 days later he was on a cruise with a bunch of priests doing just fine.
Well, when I stent somebody, I put a stent in. I usually, you know how I like to eat. I stent them and they go for steak, so it's steak and stent.
I love it. I love it. It's amazing. How many people would you say over the years have you seen? Can you guesstimate over the years? It's probably...
The numbers are tremendous. I do over 3,000 procedures a year. I've been doing it for 30 years now at St. Francis.
That's incredible. My God. It's incredible.
But
like so much of the reputation, and I say this not to embarrass you, but so much of the great reputation we have at St. Francis nationally, internationally, people travel from all over the world to go there. You helped build that in a very big way. So
thank you.
Thank you for doing all of that great work. It's incredible.
Well, now I'm going to try to promote some more business.
Let's see what you can do here. Yeah, don't get us sick, but
well, we're going to do this in two parts. The first thing we're going to do is something healthy, because I have to be respectful of Lisa here.
Of course.
So we're going to make a. Well, what are we going to be making?
Yes, we're going to be making zucchini pasta with a fresh marinara sauce made by Rich. And then over here, we're going to be making some vegetarian eggplant meatballs. So they're not actually meatballs, they're made of eggplant.
That's incredible. Now, this kind of machine that makes the zucchini pasta. I never had zucchini pasta in my life. I give you an honest confession here.
That's cool.
And the reason I don't have it is because, to me, I think it's going to be mushy. It's not going to taste like pasta. Is it really, like, the product actually tastes like pasta or what?
It's got a texture
like
similar to pasta, right?
But the way Lisa makes it, you're going to like it with this tomato sauce. So it's really going to be
and I could
special.
probably have you shoe with tomato sauce. So that's
that's
probably,
true.
so it's good sauce.
So we're going to do this basically from scratch. I'm heating up some oil. I coat the bottom of a pan with oil and heat that up. And now I'm going to put some fresh garlic and brown that up.
Now, one of the things I always laugh about, Richard, like, you're a real foodie. I mean, that's how we met. It's because your family watches this show all the time, right?
My wife got me into this.
Yeah.
She said, "Why don't you go meet him and cook with him?"
It's great, and you're a big foodie, though. I mean, you do a lot of dining and eating, and even vacations for food, right?
Absolutely.
I think that's
So right now we're cooking the garlic. We're browning it. So this is going to make the basis of our sauce. We have garlic cooking with oil, and then my wife chopped up some celery, carrots, and onions. We're going to cook that in there. This is so easy to make. And it takes 15-20 minutes to make, and your family is going to love it. The key here is use a lot of garlic.
Use a lot of garlic.
Garlic is good for you.
That's a good thing. I like to hear that. And you're not using a jarred sauce because you can make it yourself. And it's
going to be better than it's going to be fresh.
And you can control the salt too, right? A little bit.
I don't control the salt, but yeah, you could. Now, what I use these, great restaurants use these kind of canned tomatoes.
Absolutely
so I'm
right.
going to have some crushed tomato.
Those are the ones to look for, actually, if you go to the store. Those are the best ones.
Absolutely. So there's some one can of crushed tomato,
Cento is probably one of my favorite canned tomatoes.
and then we're
too.
going to have whole tomatoes.
Yep.
And then some tomato paste, just to make it a little thick. I like a thick tomato sauce.
Now, do you cook too at home, Lisa? How do you
I do, yeah.
She does.
And do you kind of do the healthy route too? I mean,
She does the healthy, and I do the unhealthy.
No, there's healthy. When you're working with real food, it's all healthy. I think that's a common misconception. You can control for ingredients, and the fresher the ingredients, the better it tastes and the better it is for you. And all real food contains components that can protect your health.
and that's why one of the reasons we call this show exactly that,
Yeah.
real food. Because again, that's really like, when God gives us this kind of stuff, this is the important stuff of life, and
I
as
agree.
far as nourishment, because it's the real stuff. It's not all processed and everything
Exactly.
else, right?
The problem comes from the processed food, not so much what happens at home when you're cooking.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So,
and, go ahead.
I'm sorry. So I'm just stirring this up. This is the whole thing. I'm going to add some salt, some pepper, and then you just let it cook. Now, sometimes if you're really in a hurry, you can get it blended, and that'll help the whole tomatoes blend in. But now we just let this thing cook, and
It'll just
that's
come
it.
down, right?
And the taste with the garlic, it's going to be unbelievable.
Yeah, and
Very
you can
simple.
smell it right away. I mean, it just smells wonderful.
Now, when Lisa's not here, what I do to this is I add beef, pork, and veal, and I make a nice bolognese out of it. So
Lisa,
you
could
just
you
get,
go outside and get a cup of coffee, please?
we'll get bad in a second, but this is going to be healthy. So I'm going to do this now. Now, Lisa, you're up next.
So what do you have? What are you going to do?
So we're going to do the eggplant meatballs, and I have a website called thewellnecessities.com. And what I like
Wellnecessities.com?
Yep.
Okay.
And the goal here is to simplify health, as I mentioned. So when it comes to cooking, I think the main intimidation factor is the recipes themselves. So I like to simplify it, 5 ingredients or less.
Nice. I like that.
Right.
That's great.
So I think that takes out the intimidation factor, gets people into the kitchen. And when you're cooking with just real ingredients, you don't need much. And you don't need to overcomplicate it or do something wrong. So they're loose recipes, pretty much. So when you're doing this recipe at home, don't take it too seriously. Don't go measuring. You don't have to be as precise. We're using fresh garlic, fresh oregano. It's going to taste delicious.
Wow, that's wonderful. That's great.
Okay.
So where do we start?
We're going to start with fresh eggplant here. So all you got to do is cut it into about 1/2 inch to 1 inch width discs. Okay? And I've pre-done a lot of this just to simplify it,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So place it on a tray, coat it with olive oil, a little bit of salt, and you stick it in the oven for about 20 minutes at about 375 degrees to get it pretty much looking like this, nice and roasted, right?
Yeah, that looks nice. Yeah.
As soon as it's done, all you do is walk over to your food processor or blender, whatever's best, and you dump all the ingredients inside. So
Isn't that
inside,
something?
Yeah. So inside this is the eggplant, 1 eggplant, depending on how big your eggplant is.
Sure.
And then the rest of the ingredients we've got is 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 1/2 of a cup of whole wheat breadcrumbs.
Whole wheat breadcrumbs. Okay.
Yep. 1 tablespoon of fresh garlic. And depending on how flavorful you like it, a tablespoon to anything less of I use dried oregano, actually.
Okay. Sure. Sure.
And each of these have different health properties. So the garlic actually has a component called allicin, which actually decreases LDL, the bad cholesterol.
Sure.
The breadcrumbs are full of fiber, which is great for digestion, also for decreasing cholesterol. The olive oil, I'm sure you've heard olive oil is healthy, right?
Sure.
Right, so those contain monounsaturated fatty acids, which increase the HDL, the good cholesterol. And then the oregano actually helps for the detoxification processes that go on in the body daily.
Wow. Makes me want to eat it right now.
No,
These good things.
I didn't realize it was all that healthy.
Yes, exactly. Wow.
And the eggplant comes in at just 35 calories a cup. Contains lots of fiber from the seeds and the outside rind. So you just simply put it into the food processor, mix it up, and then you take it out with a little scooper.
Okay.
And you make it into the shape of meatballs.
But it actually comes out pretty. I mean, it looks
yeah,
kind of.
it's meaty.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, that's what's kind of
Yeah, nice
interesting
and
about
meaty.
it. I mean, and it holds together too. It's not like there's egg in there and everything else. No.
Nope,
it's actually,
there's actually no specific binding ingredient besides for the breadcrumbs, which hold it together.
Sure.
So it looks like that.
Yeah, and I mean, if I feel a little
Yeah,
bit.
you can feel it.
I mean, it's
You can
amazing.
scoop it out yourself too.
Yeah, if
I
you take a
just
look,
pre-did
it's
it all.
just it has
Yeah.
property of like a meatball kind of property. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yes, you can make them as big as you want
Yeah.
or as little as you
Nice
want.
for soup. Yeah, right.
And they just go right into the oven. You can put it at about 400 degrees so that they start to bind together.
Yep, and crisp up.
Yep, exactly. And then you can even flip it onto broil if you'd like to make them a little bit crispier for about 30 seconds to a minute.
That's amazing.
Super simple, right?
And then these can be eaten. You can eat these with in the marinara sauce, right?
Well, what we're going to do eventually is we'll have the zucchini, we'll have
Right.
the eggplant and the marinara sauce,
Yeah.
put it together. And the beauty of this, if you want to watch your health
Yeah.
and diet. There's no carbohydrates in it. So we talked before, what gains weight is carbohydrates.
Carbohydrates.
Potatoes, rice, bread. This has no carbohydrates, so you can really give yourself a lot of zucchini pasta.
Sure.
A lot of tomato sauces we like.
Yeah.
And if you want the eggplant meatballs, that's great. You have
Isn't
the
that
whole
great?
meal. Yeah.
So this is like a Sunday meal, a Sunday Italian
Absolutely.
meal.
Yeah.
But it's
we
sort
had
of,
it last night, actually. So
Did you
it's,
really?
it's just a day in the life.
it's so interesting. Yeah, it's amazing. It really is it's an amazing thing. Now, give me, there's always like a lot of argument in the world of health, and we see it on TV. Genetics versus healthy lifestyle. Like, where do you fall in the midst of that?
It's three things. It's genetics, healthy lifestyle, and then certain medical conditions like diabetes, which is one of the worst things for your arteries all over your body.
Sure.
But environmental things like smoking, not watching your diet and exercise play a role, but genetics play a big role. So it's not one thing. When I have a patient and they have a blockage in an artery, they say, well, what caused it? You never really know.
Yeah.
It could be genetics. Even though your parents might be fine, your genetics can be such that it built up a blockage there. So you do the best to do everything you can. You diet, you exercise, you eat right,
Yeah, yeah.
and hopefully it all works out.
I mean, like my Italian grandfather, 90 years old, he's a butcher. He's eaten meat every day of his life. He drank scotch and wine, and at 90 years old, he's doing great. And then I think he was probably 90, believe it or not, I think he was 91 years old, and they said, you might need a stent. And they gave him a stent because he was in such great health.
You didn't send them to me?
Oh, he was down in South Carolina. Sorry,
travel.
I would have.
I
I was
travel.
to say I would have flew him up had I known. But I mean, incredible, right? I mean, so the idea with that was just like he didn't go to the gym necessarily, but this old Italian man, I guess for whatever reason, the rhythm of his life.
You just don't know.
Yeah, it's incredible, right? So sort of a little bit in God's hands, a little bit in our hands too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we can control what we can control. That's what matters, I guess, right?
I think now I could show you some bad things here. This is what we're going to do.
Now, your other dish that you're making, there's quite a
a little different.
dichotomy here, right?
So I'm going to be making beef burgers.
So these are big, giant hamburgers.
They
you
are
have here.
big, giant hamburgers.
I was just going to say, this is not something where you say, well, I'm having a little treat. No, this is a
and to
giant
go with a big hamburger,
Look at
big
this
bacon.
giant thick-cut bacon you got, too.
You need thick-cut bacon. This is really...
You have a spare room at your house? Because I think I'd like to move it.
So we're doing thick-cut bacon,
Wow.
a hamburger, and you might see these little fellas over here.
You know, what are they doing?
You know what? I'm a busy cardiologist. I don't have time to eat 3 meals a day.
Right.
I have 1 meal a day. So I try to combine my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. My eggs are for breakfast. The bacon and cheese. We have cheese
There's
over
cheese
there.
here, I noticed,
right?
too.
That's like a grilled cheese bacon sandwich for lunch, and a hamburger for dinner. I put it all together.
I can't believe.
And we'll see what we get.
See, how could you be in the same house then and deal with this? I mean,
Well,
'cause
believe it or not,
you know this is sincere because I know he really does like this too, right?
yeah, and believe it or not, like I said, when it comes to real food, it's not just because that's meat-based doesn't necessarily make it bad. It comes down to the quality of the meat that you're buying, really. So if you're using grass-fed versus grain-fed traditional meat,
Okay.
the grass-fed actually can contain a lot more omega-3 fatty acids. I don't know if you've heard of those before.
Yeah, a little bit, but tell me a little more.
So their main role is to decrease inflammation in the body. And inflammation is the leading cause in a lot of the chronic diseases, but very directly linked to heart disease.
Wow.
So when we choose grass-fed organic,
Yeah.
we're really making a better choice for more quality meat that's good for our health.
I'm glad you said this because a lot of times people say to me, this organic stuff, does it make a difference? But you're saying it really does make a difference.
Yeah, and organic it just means basically you're controlling for antibiotics that the livestock is fed, which if you then eat can make you antibiotic resistant. So that's the goal there. And the pesticides if it's for plants, and the hormones. They're also fed hormones to beef them up. So it sounds sort of silly until you get to understand it. And it doesn't mean you need to, always buy organic, but making the conscious choice when you can and when it's available is a great way to protect your heart.
Yeah, that's a wonderful thing. I mean, it's incredible. I can't, again, I learned something with this because I see the organic meat there in the meat counter, and I see that, the regular 80-20, so to speak. And, I wouldn't think to make that choice, but I'm going to make that choice in the future.
Yeah, and you're going to want to look for grass-fed versus grain-fed.
Grass-fed. Yeah, that's really interesting. Amazing. So how far did you get here?
So we have the bacon
that
and the
looks
burgers cooking. Towards the end, we're going to heat up the egg.
Let me just see if you have your red tail. Do you have a red tail? No, you don't. This is
Devil on
amazing.
it.
Yeah,
And,
sure.
well, the red tail comes here. This is hot peppers to put with the bacon and cheese. But to make it a little healthy, we're going to use avocado mayonnaise.
Oh, good. So at least,
something green for Lisa.
so at least there's a vegetable in there.
Right,
But
absolutely.
these hot peppers I love too. Now, do you like spicy or what?
I love spicy. So this hamburger with the bacon and cheese, and the bacon, cheese, and the egg, and the hot pepper, you're going to love this.
This is great.
You're gonna
All right,
love
we're at both ends of the spectrum right here. Stick around. We got more real food. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with everybody in a minute. Stick around. Well, welcome back to Cardiology Today, everybody. Welcome back to Real Food. Unbelievable. I mean, we're with Dr. Shlofmitz, who a lot of you know from St. Francis Hospital, and then Lisa, who's a registered dietitian and dating his son, and so it's all kind of in the family here. And I've learned a lot.
Good. I'm
Tell
glad
us
you
about the first recipe. It was meatballs
Yep.
made with...
meatball and an eggplant meatball. So it's completely vegetarian, just the meatball to give it sort of what it's going to look and the texture that it's going to be over a zucchini pasta. And we use the spiralizer to do that. But if you don't have one at home, you can simply julienne, cut very thin the zucchini.
But the spiralizer is probably a good investment.
It is, yeah.
I don't own one, and I think you've talked me into investing in one
Okay.
now because it seems very hot, and I got to try this. I got to see. I'm going to try this
Yeah.
stuff today, and we'll find out what this is all about.
Yep.
Then on the other side of the spectrum,
Well, you can
Dr.
either,
Pitchfork, what did
well,
you make?
well, you can either look like her or you can look like me. It's your choice. And we're showing you the difference if you eat which one way or the other.
Well, she's saying this is healthy, and that's what I love to hear.
I love to hear it too. Well,
right?
So here we had a really great sirloin chopped beef
Grass-fed.
hamburger.
Yep.
This hamburger was grass-fed? Okay,
Yeah.
fine. All right. I believe you. And I have some cheese, which was not grass-fed. This is Velveeta. It's probably the worst cheese.
I mean, I'm just going to say, like, if you're going to go down hard.
Go
This
down.
is the
This
Velveeta.
is totally processed. The exact opposite.
They call
of
this
an
cheese
acid.
food. It's not even like
Not
they
even
call
real.
it cheese,
But
right?
it tastes great and it melts really well.
Yeah, exactly right.
So you got your cheeseburger, right? I did the thick bacon.
That thick cut
Right.
applewood smoked bacon.
And now we're going to cook an egg
So now the egg on top, this is becoming more and more traditional, right?
over fried rice, over pasta. What could be better than pasta, a fried egg, bacon, and cream?
Yeah, I can't
know.
imagine. You got me there. You got me there.
So the key here is be very gentle when you open this so the egg looks beautiful. Voila.
Now, you've been in this world quite a while now.
62 years.
What do you see in the next generation of cardiologists that are coming out? Can you characterize them a little bit for us?
Computerized. Right now, when I do an angioplasty or a stent, I'm in the room with the patient.
Okay.
I'm manipulating everything in the leg up into the heart or through the arm into the heart. Technology is now coming out robotic, where we could be in the control booth and move everything robotically. And the other thing is with television, there's going to be a lot of consultation over a TV. Right now, when we're teaching people, I have live TV sets watching everything I could do, and I can communicate with doctors all over the world.
Wow.
So they could look at the technology that we're using,
Right.
and we could explain to them live. So it's going to be a lot of medicine from afar.
Isn't that amazing? It's just incredible stuff. And I'm sure, like, your industry's changed rather dramatically too,
Yeah,
right?
very much, yeah. I think that people of my generation, a little bit younger than me and a little bit older, are really taking better care of themselves, and they want to know what they can do to prevent. And the main thing I think we're seeing is a push on functional food. So people aren't just looking at foods that taste good, they want to know that their food has a little bit of functionality to it. So like when we went over all the ingredients, they want to know that the oregano brings something to their health.
Yeah,
The olive
right.
oil is doing something for them, as opposed to just eating for calories and energy.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I guess as we go on, we learn more and more, we develop more and more, and that's a good thing, right? That's a help.
I guess. I still like the calories.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, hey, listen, and you grew up in a very traditional home, right? I mean, in a Jewish home where your mother did a lot of the cooking, or how did it work out? Or maybe you're telling me one time.
Yeah, I told you, we didn't really describe it as cooking, but we ate at home.
We ate at home.
To us, our tomato sauce was Heinz ketchup out of a bottle with butter. That
Oh,
was
come
our,
on.
seriously.
Gee, really?
And my father would get a big bowl, and we'd all eat out of it with ketchup and butter.
Isn't that
That was
crazy?
our.
And then where did the switch come? Like, how did you get tuned in so much to?
When we started going out to dinner a lot, we tried to duplicate what we were eating.
Okay.
And we traveled to Italy, to France, and then we tried to get those ingredients. And for birthdays, my wife would get me into the kitchen with a lot of chefs, so I would learn stuff.
That's a
like that.
wonderful thing.
Yeah.
I know even when I was first a priest, I used to spend like a vacation week working at a restaurant. Nobody would know. I just go in regular clothes and go in there and just learn the trade, learn what you could learn.
Yeah,
and
you
kinda
pick up
the-
something everywhere you go.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing. So now this egg is just, it's amazing how
This
that
egg
came
is
along,
waiting
right?
to go on, but I guess you know what we could do? You want to plate the
Yep,
pasta
sure. I'm
first?
going to grab the eggplant.
Okay. And the eggplant's been cooking at a,
400 or broil.
so a 400 and then a little broil to get them nice and crisp looking too, right?
Right, right.
They're coming out now. So actually we're going to make this kind of nouveau spaghetti and meatballs, which I love.
Let me take this out of the way here for now.
So like here we go on both sides of the fence. We have a total, I guess this would be vegan?
Vegan, yeah.
Yep.
Right?
This dish is going to be completely vegan, and this one has about 3 different animal products in it.
Yes. All mooing and yelling at me right now.
Exactly.
So I guess, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take some tomato sauce.
Yes. Put a little
And
bit on the bottom.
I'm going to put a little here. To
Heat it
plate
up.
this here to heat it up.
And this zucchini now it hasn't been sauteed or anything
No,
like that.
this is
Still
raw.
fresh.
Yep, this is raw zucchini, just freshly spiralized. And we actually don't want to cook it as much as you would think, so that it doesn't get mushy like you were saying. So you still want to get that sort of al dente crunch that comes with a hopefully good tasting pasta.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
Now I get to put the good stuff on.
Right? Exactly.
So now some more goes on, right?
Yeah, so basically as you would just a regular pasta, you want to get it nice and coated just as much.
Now, if one at the end wanted, for some crazy reason,
Yes.
to put a little cheese on this per se,
Yeah, that'd be fine.
It wouldn't be terrible,
No,
right?
no,
Because
no.
we kind of saved calories and fat in a lot of other areas, right?
Right, we've made the meal mostly plant-based, and then we're putting a little something. I like to think of cheese as pretty much adding flavor, as opposed to being a key part of the
Yes.
dish. And it actually, because of the salty component, brings out the flavor of the tomato sauce and of the vegetable as well.
Now, actually making my mouth water with all of this sauce, I absolutely love. That's exactly how I like things, too. I like it.
So anytime I order pasta in a restaurant, I want extra sauce.
Me too. I always said, like, I like it soupy if you don't mind. You know, that's how
If
I
you
like
make it as fresh and delicious with all the vegetables that even went into it, why not?
I have to say, and I'm not just saying this for TV. I think you convinced me into making this, to trying this. I really think this looks really, really good.
You could just come over our house.
Yeah, that's not a bad deal either, right? I'll just bring my own fork. I'm ready.
So now we have the sauce.
And that's just sauteing in the pan, really, right?
It's
Yeah.
sauteing in the pan.
You could see it's breaking down a little bit, starting to sort of get some mobility to it.
Yes, yes. And warming up, too, obviously. Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, that has a look of...
Doesn't this look amazing?
It looks like, you know, what it's supposed to look like, I guess. It looks like spaghetti to me, that's for sure.
Right, and the calories are minimal, and it's good for your heart.
It makes room for the hamburger to get in there. I guess that's part of it, right?
Should we get that bowl there and we can plate that?
Yep, okay, perfect. Let me just switch it out.
Okay.
Rich, for people watching around the country, your offices, you have a lot of different office spaces, don't you have places?
Actually, I'm just at St. Francis.
Oh, that's so people can come see you there. You have office
St.
hours.
Francis,
But
I have-
you know what it is? You have lots of hours, office hours,
Yeah,
right?
we get started at 5 in the morning
Uh-huh.
and work till sometimes 9:30 at night.
Incredible.
So that's why we moved to the city, is because there aren't any restaurants on Long Island that are really open
That late? No. So after a day's work, you drive back into the city.
And my wife waits me every single night.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yep.
How many years you married?
37.
You say that with a question mark.
Perfect.
Wow, look how nice that looks. That looks amazing. And now we have these
Eggplant
meatballs, right?
Yep.
Which is sort of, again, another shocking ingredient.
Yep, and just 5 ingredients, so super simple.
Yeah, exactly right.
You can just place them nicely on top,
And I'll be darned if that doesn't look like the real deal.
right?
That looks like we went someplace really, really terrific to get a meal.
I know. Isn't that
We have
great?
to do one more thing to those meatballs.
Yes, a little extra
Just to give
sauce.
them
Put a
little something,
little
right?
sauce to color them up, okay?
Yeah, look at
Yeah.
that, boy. That just looks, I'm telling you, it looks fantastic. I can't believe
And
it.
then for garnish, we can just add some fresh basil.
So nice fresh basil you guys brought. Now, you know, city dwelling, any chance, do you have a little terrace garden or anything like that? Do you do any of that? No time probably,
Well,
right?
I'm right near Central Park, so I'll just go out
So
to
they
Central
take
Park.
care of it for you, right? No problem at all.
we,
That's
have
nice.
we have a little terrace.
You have a little terrace garden?
Yeah, we have actually just basil, though.
Because that's what I do too. Like that's mine, and these are mine. Because I just do little herbs, you know, just
Little
cook
herb, yeah.
enough that I can cook with them, you know.
Exactly, and
If
add
I
so
can't
much flavor.
Yeah, that's what I'm interested in. I don't have a lot of flowers. I just like to have a lot of food. around,
Right.
So that's good.
Now, with our burger here, again, to try to be a little healthy,
Okay.
instead of mayonnaise, I used a little avocado spread.
Now,
and I
what-
have my hot peppers.
Lisa, tell us the advantage of avocado.
Right, so the avocado, again, is that heart-healthy fat. It's an unsaturated fat, really good for the heart. And the egg, believe it or not, which a lot of people, I think, have the misconception that eating an egg leads to high cholesterol. That was sort of what doctors were pushing for a while. And the new research actually showed that the cholesterol in foods don't affect our blood cholesterol the way that we thought that they did.
Wow.
So much so that the new dietary guidelines didn't even put a limit on cholesterol this year.
Isn't that interesting? So we know that.
I like that.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
I know, see?
A green light
Wow,
for a change.
unbelievable.
That's nice. And a dietitian giving me a green light. I love that too, right?
And your cardiologist.
Yeah, exactly right. I'm surrounded by health. Here.
Synergy.
This is good.
So here's our 3 meals in one. We have our egg
There's
sandwich.
breakfast there.
We have our bacon and cheese and our hamburger and our
Oh,
hot
my.
peppers to wake us up in the morning.
Look at this. This is incredible. My
And
Lord.
good for metabolism, that's spicy.
All right.
I would think after I ate this, there'd be one place to go. That would probably be on the couch. I'm not sure.
And egg cracks there, and
Let's see it.
there we go.
Wow, that is incredible. So let me move this over here so you can see this too. And by the way, when that egg is a little bit runny,
Beautiful.
It's so good.
there's really nothing quite as good as that,
Really?
right?
Oh my God. Fried rice, pasta, hamburger, whatever.
Absolutely
That's the
amazing.
one thing that you can't make vegan. You cannot replace a runny egg.
Yeah, that's the
by
truth,
any
right?
food, yeah.
Because it's just that wonderful, it's just so delicious, and my mouth is watering talking about this
Yeah.
too. This is terrific. All right, we're going to take another break, everybody. When we get back, you know, a little tasting will be going on, various things. Stick around, more real food right after this. So when in your life did you ever think you'd see a cardiologist, a noted cardiologist, by the way, cutting open one of these hamburgers? I never thought I'd ever see that in my life. I'm going to
Notice
pinch myself, make sure I'm awake. I
The
am
egg,
awake.
the cheese, the bacon, the hot peppers.
Amazing.
Three
But
meals
then
in
we
one.
also have the nutritionist here who's saying, well, you know, it's okay, not bad, like it's all right, right? So, I mean, I love this. This is great. You two have been terrific. I mean, such interesting recipes and interesting lives. And the fact that you all kind of come together in one family is even more interesting. I'd love to be a fly on the wall. It must be something else, right? Because you said you have one son who eats everything on earth, right?
That's like me. My youngest son eats everything on earth. My oldest son is paleo. He's written a paleo cookbook.
Isn't that amazing?
And Evan and Lisa are vegans.
That's just incredible. So that's so interesting coming together. Must be an amazing, amazing table.
It's Linda's job to find a restaurant that accommodates us.
To get everybody in. That's so interesting, really. Thanks so much to both of you. Lisa,
for having me.
give us the website again.
Sure, it's called thewellnecessities.com, or on Instagram, The Well Necessities.
The Well Necessities. And then for us, CHS.
Heart Fixer at CHS, and we're at St. Francis waiting for you.
Oh, it's so amazing, too. And thanks so much for everything that you do over there. We're so proud. You know, I've been on the board of Catholic Health Services now 21 years. And I am so proud of St. Francis and the work that you do over there. So thank you for that. I know sometimes it gets to be a lot, maybe. You don't seem like you ever, I don't know if you stress a day. You seem like just so at peace, you know,
It's
with
not
who you
work.
are. Yeah, God bless you, because that's what God called you to. You're doing what God asked you to do, so that's a great thing. Well, listen, we pray for health in our family, we pray for our friends, and we pray for all those who are in hospitals, and we ask the Lord to heal them. So before we go, a little prayer, okay? Loving God, we ask you to heal those all who are sick at this time. We ask you to draw near to them and help us, Lord, to take care of ourselves. We may use the gift of our own lives and our own bodies to serve you. We ask you, Lord, to help us to discover our gifts that we may serve you more and more each day of our lives. And we ask your blessing upon us always. In God's name we pray, amen. God bless everybody. We'll see you next time on Real Food.